You want to do the man dance? First dance is yours.
Have you ever wanted to watch a movie where Sarah Silverman gets punched in the face for running her mouth? Do you love a good old-fashioned Western? How about a heist movie? What about a buddy cop flick with gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? What about a mob movie? Does the idea of someone getting his arms pulled apart on an oil rig make you wet for more? Do you love the kind of movie where everyone is the bad guy but you root for them anyways? How about a movie about drifters looking for a score? Are they hitmen? Are they assassins? Are they ex-special forces? You don't know, and they never tell you. Do you love a movie that doesn't give you all the answers? Well then, I have the movie for you. In the age of Americana, after the Cold War, but before the War on Terror, America hit its stride.
It's morning again in America.
A hard-boiled gumshoe detective turned director who was so damned good that Tom Cruise kidnapped him to write and direct every one of his movies. Benicio del Toro and Ryan Felipe, the two biggest stars of the 90s, teamed up to turn the concept of a buddy cop movie on its head. These guys are so damned good that even James Caan decided to show up and give gravitas. Everyone is the bad guy, but you root for them anyways. This all-star cast came together and created the most amazing, thought-provoking, and goddamned entertaining gunslinger movie in history. It's edge of your seat, non-stop action, witty banter, and induced pregnancies. The third act, Shootout Alone, is worth the price of admission. You never know what's going to happen, but you're on the edge of your seat to see it when it does. Butch Cassidy meets the Sundance Kid, meets Fight Club. It's the way of the gun. 2000.
I'm pregnant.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
There. That should be better. Now it's just playing. Let's get the studio stuff off. And for some reason, it's still playing in my ear. Not sure why. Let me make sure you guys aren't hearing double. You're not hearing double, right? All right, good. Anyways, Red Morning, welcome to the show. You guys know what's up. Oh, wait, I know what this is. I know what this is. Stupid Windows settings. That's on me. Anyways, it's a weird show. So I did tell you guys at the beginning of, or the end of the last year, that I was going to be doing a little bit different. Things a little bit differently. And I am. I hope I don't end up regretting this. I hope you don't end up regretting this. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's playing back in my ear. I'll figure it out. Can't be that bad. Wait, it's still on mute? Okay. Double check, make sure everything's gone good now, because I'm getting conflicting things here. This is audible, right? Okay, it's just a joke. Don't be messing with me, man. You know I'm a solo operation here. I don't have time for all this stuff. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn this all the way down, then I don't have to hear it. Yeah, so if you see the thumbnail on this one, Cici n'est pas une red pill. It's based on an old painting. It's called This Is Not a Pipe, or it's got like a different name, like the Tragedy of Icon or something like that, or Tragedy Image. And it kind of reminded me of the red pill stuff. This is a bit more cerebral than usual. This is a bit less actionable than usual, and you're just gonna have to suck up to it because I'm in the creative mode right now with the books. By the way, oh my god. So I redid Fuck Files. It's not going to look like this. The final version is actually going to be a 5x8 trade paperback. Because I was like, the 6x9, I didn't realize this at the time, but like the most annoying thing was having to read it and hold it in your hand. So I'm like, I got one that's a little bit smaller, so it's more hand-sized. So it's only going to be about an inch shaved off on either side. But yeah, the paperback is ready. The hardcover is ready. And oh my God, the hardcover, it just looks beautiful, man. I took the old journal that I used when I deployed, like, writing down everything that was going on during the deployment so I wouldn't forget, which, by the way, highly recommend if you haven't been deployed before to go do that. And it's got like coffee stains on it and all kinds of stuff from the years. And I was just like, dude, that'd be great as like a hardcover design. And so I made that the hardcover design. So this literally is a NATO, it's got a NATO stock number, an NSN. How about that? And so those are coming out. It's going to be awesome. And I added the 13th chapter. If you guys noticed from the original book, it's missing chapter 13. So I've added the 13th chapter. I've included a little bit of extras in there as well. So it's almost like a new book. It's almost like a new book. And I have changed the author name from Ryan Stone to R.A. Stone. It's a small difference, but I have a reason behind this. It's mostly because for the fiction stuff and the non-fiction stuff, I want to keep them separate. So when somebody buys like Fuck Files, I'm like, oh, maybe I should read The Dog Walker. That's what pops up on their thing. They don't just see all of a sudden Praxeology Volume 3, which is a completely different series of stuff. But somebody who sees Frame might not like fiction. So that's the plan there. Those are coming out at the end of the month here. So that's going to be neat. And it's going to be a prelude to pre-sales on the Kindle one are out now. And Valentine's Day, this puppy's coming out. So this is the author version. I have about a dozen or two copies of these ones that are going out to friends and collaborators, the people that we've worked with. One sec. Girl's bringing me joy. Thank you, honey. So they're going to get like this very rough, it's not even a first draft. It's like a finished draft. I mean, technically Nick is going to read through it again just in case I have any last minute changes to make. And I already see 3 small technical things that you wouldn't even notice. So yeah, it's under, I don't even know if you can see this. The R.A. Stone. Yeah, there it is. Dog Walker. It's going to be a little out of focus. That's fine. Dude, this thing is beautiful, man. I you know what? If I'm not going to talk about how great it is, who is? Fuck it. We're taking a break from the usual Red Pill stuff. The cici and Red Pill will be here when we get back. We're keeping this one short though, too, because we are going to the other channel talk about Way of the Gun. Because, oh my God, sir. Channel just hit the 4,000 watch hours, the full meal deal. It's good to go. It's going hard. So every time I've written a book, I have to read through it once to see what the themes are, read through it a second time once I got that done. By the end of it, I've probably read through it 4 times and then a 5th time when I'm doing the audiobook. And once I'm done saying the last word on it, I fucking hate it. I never want to look at it again. I never want to hear from it again. Not this one. I couldn't sleep during the Christmas season there. And I was like, oh, I should maybe just read a book. My girl does that when she can't sleep. She just sit there. She puts on her e-reader and just puts on some books. And I tried reading a few things. There's been a couple modern books that guys are like, yes, this is modern fiction for men. You should read it. And I was like, I can't read it. It's horrible. And it's really good stuff. I'm not going to put it on blast here. It's not the point. So I put my own thing in there. And I was like, dude, this is actually nice. Like I read it and I feel like somebody else wrote it. It's not, but yeah, it's fun. If you like Delicious Tacos stuff, like it's not just Delicious Tacos. He's more abstract and kind of out there. And this one is more grounded and definitely a little more crass and gritty, but it's in the same vein. That Theft of Fire, that was like, it's always been my goal is to kind of keep, because those are the books that I like as a guy. So if I were to make another book, it's to make it in that same vein of stuff that's good for another guy. Yeah, every good story has an ending. It does have an ending. Anyway, so that's it for that one. Pre-sales for this are out, by the way. The link's in the description. Your cover is going to be, it's going to pop. It's when I talked with Ray, who's, I think I got his name in there. If not, I'll put it on there. He did the cover art for me on this one. He did a really good job. And it's funny, at the black and whites, I started to have second thoughts. But then once he added the color, it just popped. So with the finished version, it's going to be way more colorful than that. The idea I gave him was like, you remember Ralph Bakshi, American Pop, a lot of his rotoscoping work from like the 70s and 80s, which you guys might remember Heavy Metal, fire and ice. And I was like, I want that. I want an impressionist where if the color is supposed to be orange here, there's 15 different colors, but it still looks orange. Make it look like an acid trip. And my God, he did better than I could have imagined. So it's like every detail from like the typography talking that Rolo and I were doing. We had a big thing on that, the big thing on the art, the big thing on the prose, the big thing on editing. It's really the best people in the manosphere for their individual things. One of the best painters I've ever seen. Does a lot of work for Dick Masterson. And Nick, obviously the best editor in the Red Pill, absolutely, 100%. Rolo, best graphic designer in the manosphere, and me now going to be the best writer in the fucking Red Pill. It's all coming together, man. It's all coming together. So pre-sales are out. Grab your Kindle version, or you can wait till the 14th when the paperback and the hardcover, which have different covers. I've got 2 covers. The second one is just as fancy as the first. So it's going to be awesome. And then, as always, how can we forget it's not that one, the workhorses, Praxeology Volume 3. I'm not surprised, but I'm like, presently, I'm humbled by how much you guys are enjoying it right now. Like, you understand the purpose of it. It's like, it's toilet reading. It's, a chapter here, a chapter there. It's fun. It's light. It's like the old Reader's Digests back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, from the 20s on. So you guys are super enjoying that, and I love seeing that one do well. There's actually a volume 4 with the second set of field reports, which I'm holding off until the summer because it's just, I can't release like 6 books in a month. That's stupid. That's just fucking stupid. But yeah, so with all this creative stuff, and that's what gets me into the topic of this one. So now that we're going to do the topic of this one, let's make fun of somebody first. Actually, you know what? Let's get this out of the way now. I see a super chat, so I'm just gonna assume it's $5 and we're gonna Murphy it.
So the meme, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha
named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I'm still recommending clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just...
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
I never not laugh at that one. It's damned good. All right, so cici n'est pas un pilu rouge. Forgive my horrible French. I never actually have had to say the word pill in French before. Who'da thunk? The problem with French is you gotta remember that half of the letters are silent. And then cici and cela, they always threw me off. So like, as a little French lesson, that's great. It's just what I'm looking for. It's kind of like that is and there is, but I never quite understood it. Nobody can explain it to me because nobody who speaks French knows how to tell people to speak French. You have to find an Anglo. How's it going, your couch? And it's going well. Let's get this super chat though, because Saxon actually has a whole arc here, and I'm here for it. So Saxon Smith, $5, 1 cent. He didn't heartfelt, and I heartfelted him anyway. I feel bad. All right, whatever. Saxon Smith, 5 Australian and 1 cent super chat. Dad, please tell me now that I'm a millionaire, my ex will pine on what could have been. Finishing my covert contract. Jokes aside, serious note. Serious thank you note below. Hey, no, appreciate it. I'll get to the stuff below here. Yeah. Jokes aside. And that, like, you're hitting on the topic, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Anyways, so Ryan, I am one of the guys that you remember by the name in the chat. The timing is quite bad for here, Australia, to catch live. It is, and yes, you are. I do remember Saxon Smith. It pops up enough. It's this is like the only place where people's names pop up that I'm like, I remember this name, and it's not a bad thing. So anyway, I've learned a lot about not being a simp and to shut the fuck up and not go to jail. And it's sad that the Red Pill podcast is coming to an end. Yeah, it's not coming to an end. It's pivoting somewhat. I'm expanding the scope of it, but that's mostly just because otherwise I'd just be repeating myself. We're evolving. Great to listen to while commuting. Thank you for all that I've learned about the whammon shit and being more Giga Chad. I haven't slept with a 10 out of 10, nor have I. Well, I mean, you're in Australia. The girls there, they've made them thicker, which is weird because Australian women used to be the hottest ones in the world. Although Canadian ones used to be too, but now it's just like, you know, the calories overcome us all. Yeah. So great to listen while commuting. Nor have I had the best adventure. Probably have I had many, and now starting to forget these women. I know now if I lose one, she could be replaced. Dude, yeah, that's like the day you realize you just start forgetting. It's when it puts it all in perspective. All these guys hyper focused on only 10s out of 10s, bro. It's like, bro, I couldn't even remember the last one. It's like, whatever. You by far have been the most actionable of the RP guys, and I wish you the very best, even though this is a parasocial relationship, just like losing one of the boys. It's not parasocial. I'll say that much right now. Not one of you guys has done some parasocial stuff, and as far as I can tell, I have never encouraged it. So it's good. You're solid there. Yeah, it was 5-1. Why not just bleep the F words? Well, I could bleep though. Actually, I might do a bleeping of that one. That might be a good pivot, is to make this thing cussing friendly. You're allowed to cuss, just not in the first 30 seconds and not gratuitously. So I think this one should be fine. I think it should be fine. Here's hoping anyway. Here's hoping. Yeah, cici. Hey, whatever. I'm not even going to talk about that. The idea was, and the painting is, there's a painting of a pipe, which is like cici n'est pas un pipe. And you're like, this is not a pipe. And everybody's looking at it, but it is a pipe. And you look at it, it's like, it's not. It's an icon of a pipe. It's not, it's a painting. And it was like one of those, because it's, step back. And this is getting to red pill. You got to believe me. Photography came out and the art world had an existential crisis. What are we going to do if the goal of art is no longer to represent a stylized version of the real world? Because photography can do that better, faster. Technology has won in the end. And so art had an existential crisis, and it has since pivoted into visual philosophy. So this is one of those early modernist things where they kind of tried to figure that out. And it was a guy understanding the idea of realism, abstraction, and representation. If I get the terms right here. So when he paints, this is not a pipe with a picture of a pipe. It's meant to illustrate the relationship you have with it. It's like, what do you mean the relationship? Like, it's not a pipe, but you see a pipe. You can't not see a pipe if you're looking at it. It is a pipe, but it's not a pipe. But you can't not see it. But it is a pipe, but it's not. And that's the point. And you're supposed to. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It lets you know your relationship to the art you're looking at, which gets me to the red pill. There is a great thing here. What's his name? Hold on a sec. Scott McCloud. He actually wrote it in his book Understanding Comics, which is surprisingly deep for what it is. It kind of expands on this one. I'm going to put another ad here because I'm going to try to actually, you know what? Let me just add it here. There you go. This is not, well, I'm really going off the cuff on this one because it's just, I don't know, it's fun. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, good, it did work. Gonna shrink this one up. Oh my god, is he gonna do fucking spreadsheets and graphs? Like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Where's the transform thing? Fuck it, we're doing it live. And we'll crop the bottom out there. Last thing I think you guys need to see my copy of Scrivener. There we go. So I don't know how well you can see this, but the idea is here, and this is for all, he used this for comics, but this really applies to anything. Anything visual, audio, or whatever. It's a 3-point triangle. Resemblance, meaning, and the picture plane. The idea of resemblance here is anything you can, like a photograph. That's the easiest version of it. Or just looking at somebody. That's full resemblance. Meaning, it kind of gets 2 parts here because you see this little line that bisects it. So once you get to the edge of the visual side of things, you get to abstractions. And the example that is used here is a circle with 2 dots and a line through it. What do you see? Like, you see a face. And then after this, it becomes language. And that's where the word face comes in. So it's like representative, but not realistic. And then at the top, the picture plane, that's abstraction is the better way to use it. So the bottom here is things that will always resemble what it is it's meant to be. A face will look like a face, like a photograph. A circle with the dots through it is the representation of a face in the abstract or semi-abstract. And then face is the word, and you think face in your head, right? Once you go up, though, it's where they start to become detached. And once you get to the top, the reason they called it the picture plane, and this is like I want to say it's Piet Mondrian, but I could be mistaken on the name of the artist. But he's the guy that you've probably seen. You know that whole abstract where everybody makes fun of, like, it's just a white canvas on the wall? And everybody's like, it's just a white canvas. I could do that. Well, that's what he's getting at with this. Once you start removing what you recognize from what is, you'll start getting into, like, Piet Mondrian's, like, composition in red, white, and blue. You know, the ones with the colored squares? You get to there, and then people were realizing you could narrow the picture plane and abstract it and abstract it. It eventually ends up with just a white canvas, right? This place of video games turns to be educational. Prax 3 has been out for a while, Naish. So what does this have to do with the red pill? I think this has everything to do with the red pill. Oh, one more thing I almost forgot. So the meaning part, when you get to text, how it shows face, or face, the word face, as you start moving up in the abstract, in the literary stuff, you start going from, like, representative words, poetry, and I think at the very top, it's just like alphabet. Completely devoid of any meaning. The letters aren't even sounds. So now that you understand this, I can explain what the hell this has to do with the red pill. What do I have here? Is this worth it too? Oh yeah, this is like the abstract stuff. So you see this little thing on the stairs? Let me just zoom this one up a bit too. See how the stairs work on those bottom 4 panels? Same thing. That's what he means by abstraction. Anyways, I think I'm done with this. You guys have everything you need, and I hate the the screenshots and the spreadsheets and whatever. You go to the red pill, what do you get? Well, the first thing is representation, right? That's you doing your own field reports. That's you trying something, seeing how everybody around you reacts, seeing how it accomplishes your goals, that sort of stuff, right? Well, you'll at least have one customer soon then. Oh, that's good to know. It's good to know, sir and or madam. I'm not sure which because it's the internet and you never know. But it'll be good. It's actually in the top 10 for journaling, which is awesome. Top 10 and Amazon bestseller. And it's like month 2 into it, and it's holding strong. It's holding strong. It's holding so well that Frame even jumped back up in the top 10. I think that one's number 7 right now. So it's pretty exciting. If somebody can help me out, a link to field reports. Or you can just go to ryanstone.com/field reports, and it'll automatically take you to the page. So the field reports are the bottom of that triangle, absolute representation. And then as you move to the right, you start getting to my work, right? This is where you get into describing the case studies, walking you through what other people have done. And then once you start getting to the abstract representation side, you'll get theories. That's kind of how it works. So try something, see what works, replicate, describe the case studies, analyze the case studies, find enough case studies, put them together when they have a concurrent or like a congruency to them, wrap a theory around that, and then bam, you have theory. Absolutely great, absolutely works. Like when I give you a theory like AWALT or whatever, you know exactly what it means. It's no different than the circle with the 2 dots and the line through it. That's a face. You can't not see a face. In the theory, you cannot, a good theory, you cannot not see the situation in your life. You can't not see the wife, all that stuff, right? And then you get to the word side of it, and that's like books, whatever. The books, the YouTube videos, whatever. That's the linguistic representation of it. Once you start moving up to the abstract stuff, and this is the weird thing because it's like more popular, is where you start separating form from the visuals. So if the bottom left was you doing field reports, and the bottom right is me writing a book on the theories surrounding all of those field reports, what's the abstract side on the top? The abstract side on the top is the Myron Gaines, it's the Andrew Tate, because they took red pill stuff. They took Rollo's work and they butchered it. They took the parts they liked, and they eventually started turning it into like random shapes until you end up at the top A blank canvas, right? What's the blank canvas in this case? I don't even know where the ultimate abstraction from the red pill would go. I like right now I know we're close. When you have Andrew Wilson, and I'm not throwing shade on him, it's like good for him. He's somehow made the whatever podcast like tolerable to people, so it's not an easy task. He's not a stupid man. Because we all know it's like, oh, that's not real red pill when Myron starts talking about these crazy bitches and ranting about the Jews. You know it's not real red pill when Andrew Tate's like, dude, if you don't have 5 chicks in your harem that you're human trafficking, what's the fucking point? You know that. But it's like, it's part of it too. And that's what it is. It's the Piet Mondrian of Rollo Tomassi. And it's given me a certain, like, I'm more at peace now. Like, I was very irritated because I'm like, they make my job so much harder. Because now I got, like, for my Patreon, if there was ever a guy who found me through Fresh and Fit and came over, you could instantly tell. And he was just ridiculous. Like, they never stayed. Hey, I'm here to alpha the oak and rip the thing. And I'm like, dude. And then I would just explain, like, the bare bones basic work that were required to, like, how to write a field report. Get your gym schedule on thing, like just functional things, and they would just disappear. They wanted a place to like rant about how bad women were. I'm trying my best not to slurp on the thing here because there's always one comment of guys like, I fucking hate that man. I'm like, I'm with you. We're going there. But you see what I mean? And so like, this is not red pill. Me sitting here, this podcast, me sitting here talking to you guys about this stuff is the equivalent of a painting of a pipe. Cici n'est pas un red pill. Pile rouge. Interesting. Now, this is all kind of like, this is pedantic, and it's very, I'm not going to lie to you. I know that. It's extremely hard to talk about this stuff without sounding like a pretentious fuck. I get that. I was graphic design degree with an art history major. Like, trust me, I was in that world. I totally get it. But it's the ability, you have to have the ability to abstract a little bit like this. This, I think, is an important step in being able to take a step back from your life, look at it from the 10,000 foot view so you can understand what it is you're doing. Because the alternative, guys who are completely incapable of that, I would argue that's where the guys that go Rambo kind of come from. They're unable to take a step back, a level of abstraction, and look like, where is this on the thing? Like the Alpha is Wolf guy, great example. He just took everything and he looked at it as representative. That photograph, right? The bottom left corner of the triangle. And then, so red pill guys say do this, I did this. They say this is a shit test, everything's a shit test. And he took everything wholesale, face value. And and you can't do that because there's a lot of stuff that's been here that's like contradictory to other things. So it's all based on context, and none of it's based on truth. As much as you guys, everybody's like red pill truth this, like it's never based on truth. It's based on utility. Men are easily manipulatable. You can manipulate a man. It's not hard. Women do it all the time. Men do it all the time. Andrew Tate did it. Myron Gaines did it. Just here, getting me to get you guys to listen to me run my mouth is an exercise in manipulation. So don't ever kid yourself thinking, oh, he doesn't. Everybody is manipulating you. The difference is, are you willingly letting yourself be manipulated, or are you being manipulated subconsciously? You know? So you have to be cognizant of when and where you're being manipulated, by who and for what purpose. In my case, I sleep at night by, well, if I'm going to manipulate these guys into watching me and reading my content, I'm going to make sure I give them something that's worth their time. And ideally, that should be what a good like girl is doing when you're in a relationship or just sleeping around or married or whatever, right? Yeah, she'll try to manipulate you, but she blows me every 3 days and we fuck 4 days a week, and she wants to have a relationship. It's like, I'm not against that. And she cooks and she's great. Like everything that mattered to you. She does all that stuff because she wants to keep you happy. Why wouldn't you want a relationship with that? Well, she's still manipulating you into it, but you're like, I'm okay with that. And don't think that manipulation is some evil thing either, because it's like, it's in our DNA. Like, did you know there's 3 sounds that'll get your adrenal gland going? It's like literally some Dune shit. You know that? Where like the weirding way with the fucking word. You say a word and then somebody's head explodes. Like, we have that. A woman screaming, a baby crying, and a dog yelping. All three of those things, if you hear those, you can't not get an adrenal response. You can't. It's crazy, isn't it? Pause this for 1 sec. Silver Bishop's €5 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. A heartfelt to you, Couch. Heartfelt to you too, sir and or madam. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes shit happens. The questions, do you spurg out or just continue doing your stuff? Yeah, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, sometimes shit happens. Do you spurg out or just continue doing your stuff? I mean, I know it's cliched, but the whole 10% is what life happens to you and 90% is how you react to it. But there's a reason it's cliche. It's not wrong. And that's hard because a lot of times people just like stick with what they're doing because they don't know how to adapt and change. And we're kind of hardwired for not changing unless we absolutely have to. So being able to pivot, it's like being able to diet. You really do have to go against your instincts. And that's the same thing with this. Like, you're aware that these adrenal responses, they're your instincts. You can't stop it. If you girl screams and cries enough, she will manipulate you into something. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. Drywall smashing. Nice. So yeah, and I just, now that I'm getting more into the creative side of things, it's very funny to see in retrospect how elements of it have infiltrated my creative output. So like just the Red Morning ads, based on stuff I'm remembering from my old art history stuff, just how the dog walker was written. Yeah. So for you guys, that's why this one's a bit of a shorter one, because there's not a huge amount to it. It's hard to make this actionable, and it's also hard not to make it like, and I'm not shitting on the guy. I've learned to appreciate him lately. The Jordan Peterson thing, which I've talked about it before. I don't have a name for what I'm talking about, but I'll explain it. Where Jordan Peterson will do a lecture, or Christopher Hitchens, or whatever, some intellectual on the internet that you think is awesome. And then you'll watch it, and then you'll be finished it, and you're like, dude, that was such like the smartest thing I've ever seen. It's great. And then you'll tell somebody, it's like, dude, have you seen the new Jordan Peterson lecture? Like, really, what's it about? And then you're like, holy shit, I can't tell you a thing about what it's about. I don't know what it's about. I can't explain it at all. And then you realize it wasn't that it was a smart lecture. It just gave you the feeling of being smart. This is not a pipe. This is not the red pill. It makes you the feeling of being smart. You heard things. They were very fancy things. It makes things click in your head. But if you're trying to express anything from that, you just can't. And that's a horrible place to be. Because that's, if you want to talk about the parasocial relationships, that's it. God knows, if people in here have been watching me for like 5 years and not been able to articulate what a covert contract is, or negative inquiry, negative assertion, fogging, amused mastery, broken record, did I already say agree and amplify, fogging? Yeah, anyways, if you don't know what those things are at this point, I've essentially just done the Jordan Peterson lecture to you guys. Like, oh, this stuff sounds brilliant. Well, what's a covert contract? You're like, a what? Benzodiazepine. Yeah. So it's hard, and I find the best way to do it is through stories, and stories are creative. Ultimately, stories are creative. Whether it's writing a book, whether it's making a poem, whether it's making a movie, whether it's just you talking to your buddies at happy hour. Like, every one of you guys that has more than 2 friends will know there's that one friend that he'll tell the stupidest story that's got nothing to do with nothing, and you guys all listen to it, and it's hilarious. The guy in mine, I actually named one of my characters the book after him, Jason. It was him to a T. Didn't matter what he explained. His story was just amazing. And he loved it, and he was laughing. His delivery was good. The story was good. It had you hooked at the edge of your seat. Taught me a lot. He's also the one that I might have told the old Navy story where we were deployed and doing like 10,000 messages a month, which is just an insane level of work for a department. And everybody started freaking out. We made this one mistake, and gotta call NATO and blah blah blah. And he taught me like the power of storytelling. When he looked over, he's like, the PO's like, I gotta answer to the captain. We gotta fix everything, redo everything. And they just panic, right? And he goes, PO, look, petty officer, first class. PO, nobody in the fleet in the last 20 years has done, like, we actually rolled over our message traffic. Once you hit 10,000, it rolls the number over. Most people go their whole career without ever seeing that. Just to explain the importance to it, because you're like, messages, who cares? I've sent emails. It's different. And he goes, look at it this way. Nobody in the last 20 years has ever done this much traffic. We have done it, and in like 12,000 messages, 1 mistake. Like, there is nobody on earth who can have that level of quality control. And that's what you, and then you, and like right there, it went from the biggest fuck up NATO had ever seen to we are the greatest people on earth. And which one do you think the captain understood and worked with? Obviously that one. It was just goddamn brilliant. And so I try to impart that on you guys, and I try to have that influence my storytelling, which it's not really my storytelling. It's me learning from everybody else who's ever been able to string a sentence together around me. You know, whether from like Mystery to Jason to Rolo to you guys. So yeah, if I can impart anything onto you guys, just remember, this is not the red pill. This is not the red pill. This is a iconic representation. This is mild, and then the more abstract you get, the more detached you are from the goal of it. And if that's your desire, that's fine. Some people just like the abstraction. Some people just like seeing a guy with red pill written on a t-shirt yelling at some girl who's got OnlyFans written on her t-shirt, and that's fine. But just remember that. It's like, that's not real red pill. It's an abstraction, though. It's more of an abstraction than you may like, but it's an abstraction. Kind of like Pearl. Actually, you know what? There. If we want to talk about like the white picture plane, the fully abstract red pill version, I'd say we'd put Pearl on there. That's it. Just some redhead chick yelling at fat black chicks. Like, I think that's about as abstract from the red pill as you can get. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna finish this up here in the next 20 minutes. I see. Oh, I did all the super chats now, and we're gonna go over to the other channel. We're gonna talk about Way of the Gun, which, oh my god, I've always known this is one of my favorite movies. I've always known it was one of the best movies I'd ever seen, but I hadn't watched it in years. And so when it came up for the channel, I'm like, oh man, I forgot. And it's the one thing I learned. You know what? I'm gonna save this all for there. I'm not gonna talk about it. Let's get back to the red pill stuff. Okay, 20 minutes, I'll hang around in that early hours of the wee morning. You know what? If you can, you can. I don't want you to be late for work because you like, why would you sleep in today? I was watching a podcast about a movie from 1999 or 2000 or whatever. Dude, you want to watch the movie. I'm telling you, it's saving it. We're sticking to the red pill thing. So I gotta do some, we're gonna do another ad, and then I'm gonna brag some more. Where is it? Which one do I want to do? You know what?
Yes, there are Indian families that dig holes and put tents and poop. They do it on the beach now, and they did it off my backyard.
Oh, hoo boy!
There was like 3 different families of maybe 25, 30 people that came for barbecues. They would set up right on the fence of my backyard. I seen them digging the hole, and I seen them put the tent. When they left, there was poop. That happened 3 separate times. I've had to yell at people for shitting on the borderline property line of my backyard. And yes, it was Indian families. So that's not false. You can check my town's page where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach, because they're digging holes and they're pooping and putting tents up because they don't want to go to the washrooms. So I'm tired of people saying that the people pooping on the beach, like that's what they do back home. We are not back home. We are in Canada. As a local, I refuse to let my kids dig in the sand on Beach 1. And you guys are saying all the tents are gone? No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. The beach is full of tents. Full.
Do you want to know why my food is burnt? Because I had a police officer come to my door and harass. Somebody called in and said, she's harassing East Indian people. No, I'm not.
Do you see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there. Oh yeah, I forgot. Dude, I've got a Manosphere morning in the can, and I haven't finished the editing yet. I gotta go on that. It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. Oh, Santiago. Yeah, it's the parasocial relationship thing I was telling you about. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So anyway, so back to the red pill stuff. And I was like, and here's the benefit of the abstraction side. I'm keep talking about abstraction, and I don't want you guys to think I mean that as a completely bad thing. But so the dog walker is an abstraction. I would argue it's where Pearl is more on the representative side, like photographs taken to abstraction. This is more on the iconography side. So like the word face, the right side of the thing, where it goes up to abstraction. Because I don't use the word hypergamy in this once. I don't feel the need for it. It doesn't really drive the characters. It doesn't really drive the plot. Nothing. In fact, I think the only word for word red pilled term I use in here is promise keepers. Once, just to describe the main character. But if you're to read it, and you will read it, and you read it, God damn it, read it. Trudeau has ruined our income over here. I need the money. You'll see all kinds of things. You're like, dude, if, a girl was doing, branch swinging or whatever, that's totally what that would be. If a guy was doing a promise keeper, that's exactly what that would look like. Like, all the concepts are there, but they're abstracted away from the podcast format, the non-fiction format, the essays, the field reports format. And the one benefit that abstractions have, which I guess I should have mentioned earlier on, is that you're required to think. You're required to use them, which is a Marshall McLuhan thing. You guys I've talked about it before. The medium is the message. Rollo even has an essay on that for Red Pill once, where if a girl's making you get mixed meanings from her, that is the meaning. That means she's not interested. That's why she wants you confused. If she wants you, she lets you know. Girls don't act that way. But it's the same thing here. And as a person, like, do you really enjoy watching Ribby the Frog? Or I don't even know if these guys are real anymore. Like, I don't watch their channels. Just Chesty showed me one of their things once. They got 100,000 subscribers in an anime thing. There's the Tyler the Fiend. There's the Ribby the Frog. There's all those guys. Apex Homo sapien or whatever they called him. Like, do you really enjoy that stuff? I don't. Where it's a guy just sitting there yelling at the camera 1984 style about how the women are out to get you. But that's the thing. That's a hot medium. You don't have to think anything. He's telling you, this is what you think. This is what you're supposed to feel. This is what you're looking at. There is no room for you in the process other than as a passive consumer. And it frankly is boring. It is. It's boring. It's only there when you're so bored that it's more interesting than staring at the wall. But when you get to the abstraction sides, it doesn't spell it out for you. It doesn't tell you what to think. It doesn't tell you what to feel. Sometimes it doesn't even identify when there's something you need to know. So you have to be like able to think about that. I have to know when it is I'm looking at something that requires me to put on like the red pill thinking cap. When should is this a hypergamous thing or is this a shit test or, all that stuff. It forces you to think about it. And that's what creates interest over time. Like, you guys will actually ultimately be more appreciative. It's the same as like watching a good movie. A good movie doesn't tell you what to think. That's why on my channel it's Gattaca, it's Way of the Gun. It's even, well, Rambo 3 is not the best example. That one's pretty, this is what you think, but yeah, the good ones there are that. And then you realize by watching it, it's like, oh, you're putting the pieces together. And then somebody can mention something that you had no idea about. And you're like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. Like when I explained I Come in Peace as a buddy cop movie, where the main protagonist doesn't actually have a character arc, but everybody around him has one through him. It's like stuff like that you never even would have thought of. You just saw space aliens with laser guns. And then once you see that, it makes sense. You automatically identify it. And that's ultimately what makes things good or not good, I would argue, insofar as like there's an objective measure of goodness. Does this thing require any action on your part to interpret it? And now, I mean, you don't want to go extreme with that one. At that point, you're just like ranting and raving with like scribbles onto a book, expecting somebody to put the pieces together. Ideally, it's a collaborative process where I would argue on this side of the fence, you do like 90% of the work, and on the other side, they put the last 10% together. I think I'm just throwing numbers out of the air. It doesn't really matter, but you get the point. Like on this side, there has to be a deliberate effort to put it together properly to the point that you can enjoy it on just that level if you want to, with there being that additional exposure that you can do on your own. I just lost chat. All right, we're back. Did I lose you guys? So if I can get you there, I think that's good. One of the frogs in Cuphead is called Ribby. No shit. It's funny, I've beat him too. You'd think I'd remember that. So that's the point I'm getting to on all this. I hope you guys have kind of gained a deeper appreciation for this stuff. And like I said, I know it sounds pretentious, and I know it sounds like overly analytical, and it's lacking actionable stuff, which is true. It's totally not. But I lost you 24 minutes ago. There's no way I lost you. You're a smart cookie, Covert. I don't need you on this one. It's just one of those things that you just kind of understand the concept, put it in the back of your mind, and then have it help guide you. I think it's the best way. It's the same as 48 Laws of Power. So sum this one up then, so I don't have you at the end of this going, I don't know what the fuck I was just listening to. Put any work into the same conception of that triangle I was showing you before. Representative, oh, what the hell? Damn it, I got the names all wrong again. I'm such an idiot. Oh, there we go. Resemblance, meaning, and abstraction. And everything fits inside of it. So the resemblance is visceral. It's just you and something in front of you. It's reality as close as you can get. What you can see, what you can touch, your field reports. On the other side, you get to meaning, which doesn't have resemblance. That's why a lot of the theories you'll see in here aren't one-to-one correlated with your individual life. But they resemble what it is you're meant to do. Like, oh, AWOL, all women are like that. Well, are all women like that? No, they're not. But by thinking this way, you make better decisions. So it's that level. It's got the meaning, but it doesn't have the resemblance. And then you get to the far side where you get to like books and podcasts and whatever. And then you go up, and that's abstraction. And that's where they wear the red pill as a skin suit. So ultimately at the top, you'll get to things like the dog walker, which I would argue was on the good side of the abstraction. And then you get to like Pearl and Tate and all those guys and the whatever podcast as the not so good abstraction. It's overly abstraction. And that'll help you because when you're watching something new, let's say after this, you find some niche that you're just in love with. You can kind of identify it quickly. Is this resemblance? Is this meaning? Is this abstraction? And like where on that continuity does it fall? And then you'll start to see, okay, so for my stuff I watch about video games, I like stuff that's here. For my Red Pill stuff, I like stuff that's here. For the Sawmill channel, I like stuff that's here. For work, I like stuff that's there. You'll start to see where your preference is, like what level, where you fit inside of that little triangle. And then it kind of will guide you on the kind of things you'll enjoy. When somebody says, hey, you got to watch the new whatever. And you kind of give it a look and you're like, yeah, that's going to be a little bit too much resemblance, not enough meaning, way too abstract. I'm not going to be into it. I forgot how much I hate the gym. Oh, yeah, dude. Like, even with our private gym, it's getting bad in here. There's a whole bunch of people I've never seen before. A lot of, dude. Oh, this is going to sound racist. Oh, I'll just use international students. There is a lot of Canadians that have just left the city after the COVID thing, and they kept their condo. And they've been renting them out to international students. So we have a lot more international students. There was one day I went down into my lobby, and I just smelled curry throughout the whole lobby, which was strange because nobody was eating. I don't know what to think of that. I don't know how to process any of this. I don't know. I'm going to keep this abstract. I'm not going to give you guys any feelings or thoughts on this one way or another. It was definitely something I had not had before. Yeah, a lot of best-selling authors just put common themes in their stories and it's entertaining. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to put themes in there and maybe as common, but that's if the themes don't resonate with the people, they're not going to like the book. And that's the meaning part of this, right? If there's no meaning to it, like I can make a resemblance to the most random niched thing ever. And if you were to follow that trend across to its meaning, and the meaning has no interest to you, you're not going to like the resemblance. The only reason like the resemblance part of the red pill is interesting is because that's your sex life. So of course you're going to have a vested interest in enjoying that. That's why it's such a very, very easy, I don't want to say easy sell, but you know what I mean? Like the theme, it's a very easy one to use and go with. And that's probably why we get so many abstractions on it. If you were to put something else, like if I start talking about some, like case in point, this talk about fucking art history and representation, probably not. What's my favorite? To be fair, I just like the very spicy ones. I love the ones that, Thai curry is my favorite, if I really had to be honest with you. Green is best, yellow's good, red's okay. So anyways, hope you understood this one, the idea of meaning, resemblance, abstraction, how it applies to the red pill, how you can take this and in your head build up a conceptual mental model that allows you to quickly analyze, discern, and judge new content that maybe you like, maybe you don't like, to judge new people whether you like, maybe you don't like, to judge new pieces of information based on that. Where does this fall into this? Which is good too, because then when you hear, here's a practical example. You hear Myron Gaines doing his, you got to fuck 50 girls before you're 50 or you're not a man. You're like, where the hell does that fall on here? Is it resemblance? Is it a resemblance? I mean, you technically could. Is it meaning? Like, what's the meaning behind that? Do you know what the meaning is? Does he know? He doesn't. So there's no meaning behind it. And then the abstraction, it's like, why 50? It's a very abstract thing. And then you realize, okay, so he's just doing this as marketing. Put on a big clapboard, it says red pill, and he's like, buy my shit. And so it lets you know you can probably dismiss that one, right? Anywho, so that's it on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to switch over to the other channel in just like 5 minutes. Give me some time to set up. We're going to go chit-chat about Way of the Gun. And oh my God, you guys, has anybody like not seen it in here? Give me some F's in the chat if you haven't seen it. Because like you guys are really missing out. And if there's a lot of you, I'll probably alter the content so I don't spoil things. Interesting. All right, so I'll keep that in mind when we talk about it, so I don't spoil some of the surprises for you anyway. See you guys there. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Let's make fun of somebody. Who the hell have we not? Oh, fuck. Why am I not? Yeah.
I love the way girls smell. I love how they always make sure, by and large, they shower, and they just have an amazing smell to them in general.
All right, later, boys.
79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.